Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel for another Hot Toys review. This is gonna be the Scorched Xenomorph from Alien Romulus. Make sure to stay until the end of the video. I'm gonna do some size comparison time. And the big question of the day, is this the best Hot Toys Alien ever made? Let's find out. And when it comes to accessories, you have a very good selection here. Obviously, what's missing from these would have been cool to have a chest burster. Obviously there's a famous scene in the movie when you see the chest burster. Obviously, each Alien movie has a chest burster because that's part of the cycle. And what's missing, actually, although it's not in the movie, it would be cool to have an alien egg. In the movie, what they did is pretty much they re-engineered the aliens using like the big chap DNA, so you don't have eggs in the movie per se. What they did, you pretty much had the facehuggers here in like a compartment with a handle, which was pretty cool. First thing here with which is the biggest accessory, you have this very nice base right there. You have the Alien Romulus Scorched Xenomorph down below, which is very nice. Now this, correct if I'm wrong, this was reused from the child figure, the life-size scale, but what they did is they added this nice, I guess, xenomorph resin goo right there, on the sides, which make it very nice. Also, it's pretty tall base. We're gonna take a look at that in a couple of minutes here, but it makes the figure a little bit taller. And what's cool is you have enough room here to where you can pose the figure however you want, and you do have this grabber right there, which is actually pretty cool. It's the first time that I've seen this design. This is pretty much to accommodate the alien and the tail, so it's not gonna wobble around. And then here again, I haven't seen a facehugger since like the old AVP days. As you guys know, my first Hot Toys Alien was the Grid Alien back in 2009, which is quite insane, but I remember that was pretty much a rubbery facehugger. Now what they did with this one, it's pretty much hard plastic except for the tail, and obviously the fingers right there are plasticky, which on the old one was pretty much rubbery, and then you have like a metal wire inside, so you can pretty much pose them a little bit more. Now this one does have ball joints at the ends right there, but that's pretty much it. And then you do have the wire which goes inside the tail, but I even remember like the old ones have wires like right there at these pieces right there, so you can attach it to a face. So we're gonna see in this video review how easy it is to attach it to like a 1 scale figure's face. But again, the details on this one is very nice. Obviously in Alien Romulus they have like a darker tone to them, and this one is pretty greenish, which is accurate to the movie. But again, the details on this guy is very nice nicely articulated, and he does fit very nice on the base. So moving on here, you do have an extended mouth, which is fantastic because I assume the upcoming Big Chap figure, the 2.0, is gonna have a similar feature where you can pretty much remove the other mouthpiece, so you don't actually damage the tendons, because that's obviously like a silicone part. So this is very smart. The only thing I'm not a big fan of, obviously there's this magnet right here, but there's this like plastic latch right there. It is kind of fragile, so do be careful with these, but I'm gonna show you how to interchange them. And you do have a battle damage dome because that's why he's called the Scorched Xenomorph. Obviously this is pretty much when he came out of that cocoon and the guy pretty much electrocuted him and made this like scorch mark, a battle damage mark on his face. And you do have a magnetic I guess pull here to remove the inner mouth. You do have the extraction sheet, and you do have a bunch of... So speaking of the face here, obviously this is like the articulated jaw. Obviously as you move this, it's pretty much like a ratcheting joint. You can kind of see the ligaments that stretch, so that's pretty cool. Again, be very careful if you're leaving this guy like that for extended periods of time. But this is fantastic, look at that. And this is very realistic because obviously previous aliens from Hot Toys, you could never have them where they have the mouth completely closed, but this one actually went, very closed look right there, which is fantastic. So again, I'm pretty much 100% sure that the Big Chap is gonna have the removable jaw part, so you can pretty much achieve the same look and also include maybe like a sculpted mouthpiece, which is obviously is gonna make this guy a lot more durable, which is awesome. Okay, so removing the jaw, it's not the easiest thing in the world. As I said earlier, would have been cool if this piece right there would have been a magnet as well, same as this, because it's a little bit tricky. So as you can see right there is the inner mouth. You can pretty much use the magnetic tool that I've showed you guys to remove that. So yeah, let's also interchange the dome right there and put his open mouth in and see how cool that looks. Oh damn, that was a little bit complicated to do. Obviously to remove the dome, there's like two plastic tabs right there. Man, this is very fragile. Be very careful putting this out. Again, I don't understand. They could have put in some small, I guess, magnets on the side. This is a very, I guess, stupid choice. But again, here what's cool is that they have actually sculpted the skull inside. So again, similar to Big Chap. See how that crazy design looks right there. And again, just to appreciate the amount of detail there's inside the dome, you can see right there. You can see like the full skeleton, and I like how they actually used, obviously in the movie he has multiple ridges, so Hot Toys took advantage of that to interchange the front dome look. But again, the details inside the dome right there, fantastic and very movie accurate. Again, I've seen the movie, again I've seen the special features, the behind the scene look, and I can confirm this is very accurate. In terms of 1/6 scale, I mean, this is pretty much like the most accurate representation of the Scorched Xenomorph out there. And there's how he looks with the battle damage part. Again, I like this a lot because it pretty much gives the character more meaning, more characteristics, pretty much like similar to, let's say, how the Grid Alien was in AVP. He had some marks on the face, which again gives him more character. And again, to remove the or I should say to take the inner mouth out, you pretty much bring this piece and then it's gonna magnetize, as you can see, very strong magnet, and then you pull the inner mouth out, which is fantastic. Again, back in the day, essentially what they've done is there was a lever, right in there, as you can see where my finger is, and you pretty much pull the lever and that would extend the jaw and would also take the inner mouth out, which for obviously back in the day that was a very nice mechanism. But again, and is it me or my inner mouth is a little bit crooked where you compare that to the teeth? But again, such a nice look to have. And again, I guess you can actually put this more inside so you don't have the full extended look. But as you can see, if you get closer to the teeth, because it's magnetized, this is gonna pretty much snap back in place. As you can see, boom, so there it goes. But again, I actually prefer the closed mouth look a little bit more. but again, it's very accurate how wide it is. And what's cool again is Hot Toys, they did give us an extra piece right there, which is hard versus like the more rubbery one. But I think I'm gonna stick with this one for now. But again, be very careful not to stretch the tendons, because that would snap. Come on, focus. So that would snap right there. So again, pay very attention to those tendons right there, which I believe in the first Alien movie on Big Chap, those were actually condoms. Believe it or not, that's what they use to create like that stretchy effect. So that's pretty nice. And again, you do have some lovely details right there on the bottom of the jaw. And I do like this grayish blue color. Almost reminds me a little bit of the Alien Queen. Okie doke. So when it comes to articulation, again, this guy is very nice, very natural movements throughout the figure. Obviously the neck is gonna be rubberized, but there's a ball joint inside, so you can pretty much articulate the neck. And look how smooth that motion is. Almost looks like an animatronic. You obviously have side to side right there. Yeah, very nice. When it comes to the arms right there, there's obviously ball joints, and there's a ratcheting joint. You know, as you can see, you can hear that click right there. When it comes to the elbows, you can pretty much almost do like a double bend, but again, it's very stiff right there. So yeah, almost 90, which I guess it's enough, you know, when it comes to the figure. Damn, almost knocked the camera down. That's how big this guy is. And when it comes to the lower part here, as you can see, that's rubbery as well, so you can pretty much extend side to side. And again, I'm gonna show you guys more poses by the end of the video. That's very nice. And then when it comes to the legs right there, you can bring them down to obviously allow more you know, posing options. That's very typical when it comes to like big creatures like this from Hot Toys, but again, this is very stiff. However, this is pretty much easy now. I can confirm this is the most articulated Xenomorph that Hot Toys has made, which is very nice. So you don't have to worry about, you know, damaging the joints. And then when it comes to the knee right there, you know, it's a very nice bend. Again, almost the double bend. So again, the joints inside are die cast, as you can see right there. And then the lower foot is pretty much has like this chicken leg design. There's another ball joint inside. Again, very nice. And then the tail, like I said, there's a rubber inside. It's a rubbery tail. There's like a die cast frame, so you can pretty much articulate this however you want. And the tail itself is like massive. Again, it's hard to see in camera, but this thing alone is like, Jesus Christ, I would say, yeah, maybe 15, 16 inches long. So extended like this, I mean, the figure is, you know, with the tail like that. So let's say you're making like a swimming pose, let's say from like Alien Resurrection. I mean, this thing is 23, 24 inches long with the tail extended like that, which is pretty cool. So it is possible obviously to pose him without the base. The trick is you have to find balance, and you can obviously use the tail to kind of prop him up. But he is very, very awesome looking, man. I dig this guy right away. So as you can see right there, very poseable figure. You can kind of put the tail right there to support him. And because he's so poseable, you can actually fit this guy in a D-Elf, which is very nice considering how big it is. Straight up like this you cannot fit him, but again, if you bend the knees and pretty much, you know, put him in like a running position, or like he's crawling, he's definitely gonna fit inside the D-Elf. Yeah, he's awesome. And here's a good example of like one of my favorite poses here. Is pretty much like a lounging pose, like he's about to grab you. So again, I would use the base for this type of pose, just because of you know, how balanced he is. He's not gonna be able to stand by himself with this pose right there. But again, fantastic, you know, with the tail right there, like he's about to stab someone. But again, from the side, he almost looks like he's running right there. Again, fantastic, man. I do love this guy a lot, which pretty much gonna bring me to my next point of to say if this is gonna be the best Hot Toys Xenomorph out there. Again, like I said, I had a bunch of them. I didn't get the dog alien, which again, hopefully Hot Toys is gonna do that very soon. I did have the Pride alien, which is very big, so I'm gonna confirm with you guys if this is the biggest Xenomorph from Hot Toys, if this is the same scale as that one, because obviously I think the Pred Alien is supposed to be 9 or 10 feet tall, and this guy in the movie is supposed to be, well, technically if you do the math, it's like 44 centimeters. You multiply that by 6, because obviously this is a 1/6 scale figure, and if you do the math, that's supposed to be 8'8", which is quite massive. That's, I guess it's bigger than Thanos, or maybe like a Hulk figure in real life. But yeah, fantastic, man. Very fun to pose. Just look at that, man. One of my favorite aspects of the figure obviously is how easy it is to pose. It's definitely the most poseable alien, you know, in modern day that they've made, because like I said, I used to own pretty much all of their AVP ones from the first movie, and they're essentially built the same. You know, obviously you have a rubber structure. This one has a little bit less, because the older ones pretty much had pretty much most of the head, the neck part. These used to be rubbery here. These shoulder blades, the rib cage used to be like rubbery, but they're pretty much built the same, although they are more durable, and it's very easy to have a great pose. I'm very excited to get the upcoming Big Chop whenever that's getting released, but I don't think it's gonna be as poseable as this guy, even though that one is gonna have like silicone body. Obviously for a lot of people that's gonna be a more iconic figure, but when it comes to like detail and, you know, height, you know, this is definitely, you know, taking the cake. And I can easily say right away, this is the best Hot Toys alien I had in my collection. Again, there's a couple of things that kind of bug me about it, no pun intended. Especially like changing the whole dome right there, changing the mouthpieces. That's harder to do. Honestly, I don't understand why they made it so difficult, because essentially, you know, you have like a magnet, a system right there in place, which is pretty cool. But again, now you have that stupid peg right there in front, which is very fragile. I mean, that could snap at any minute, especially if you interchange the mouthpieces, you know, on and on repetition. But again, this is pretty cool. It's rubbery right here. So again, it's very cool that they've given us that option. Also, interchanging the hand, the inner mouth is very easy this time around, because again, on the old ones, you pretty much had like a lever on the back of the head. So again, you push that, and the cool thing about that, when the mouth was coming out, you had this almost organic transition. So that was a little bit better, but again, a lot of people would pretty much break those tendons right there, which is unfortunate, but again, it is what it is. But yeah, easily like the paint application. Also, this guy reminds me a lot of the animatronic that they used in the movie. It has like similar colors. Again, there's a lot of behind the scenes on YouTube you can check, because they obviously used an animatronic puppet, like a life-size one. Sometimes it was like a half of a puppet. Then there was a guy in a suit, and there's obviously some CGI when you see aliens running around and jumping and whatnot. But again, awesome figure. Also here another cool feature with the facehugger. Again, I still prefer the old ones, just because they were a lot more flexible. Those are pretty much completely rubberized. I don't know if that's a word, but this one essentially has like plastic digits right here. Now the cool thing about the old ones, like I said, they were like rubbery, so it was a lot easier like to put the facehugger on you know, on one scale figure face. Whereas this one, essentially, it has very good articulation, as you can see right there. But the other one had wires also in these parts right there, so you can pretty much attach it to the face a little bit easier than what it is here. Obviously, I'm gonna attempt that here. Another cool thing, if you do actually fold his legs like this, kind of put him on the base, it almost looks like a dead, you know, facehugger, which is pretty cool, because this is how essentially they have a very short life cycle, because their whole purpose is to plant the seed into like a host, but then when they do, they pretty much die. So again, you would see him like throughout the movies like this. They're pretty much, you know, folded over almost like an insect or a scorpion as they die. So again, that's a pretty cool detail. But again, the level of details inside, obviously very nasty right there. This one has very interesting colors, and I like in the movie how they're kind of, you know, genetically modified. They're not like, you know, I guess official facehuggers, because obviously the whole thing is they come from the eggs, but these ones, they're pretty much like DNA. They use the DNA from like Big Chap to, you know, recreate these, which is pretty cool. But again, I think the characters in the movie are pretty good. I think Andy obviously steals the show all the way in, and I didn't like too much like the how they attached the movie to almost like you know, Prometheus. Obviously it's canon, but you know, I didn't like that, plus the ending with that creature. That would be a very interesting figure to have. If I'm surprised that NECA hasn't made that one as of right now, or even Hot Toys, because that they used like a very big basketball player for Romania, which I believe was, Jesus Christ, I mean that guy was close to like 8 feet tall, which is insane. Believe it or not, it was a very skinny guy, super tall. So again, that would have been, you know, a very interesting figure to have. It's like a mix of an engineer and an alien. Okay man, this is very cool to see. Here's a size comparison with pretty much some of the biggest one-scale figures in the collection. So as you can see, the alien right there, standing, you know, standing tall, and I extended his legs right there because you can pretty much kind of, you know, it's like a double ball joint. You can pretty much bring those down to allow more articulation, but you can also give this guy a little bit more height, which is very cool. So as you can see, next to Jake Sully, which is a very tall figure, I think this guy is almost 18 inches tall, if 18 inches tall exactly. So you can see right there, almost the exact same tall Jake Sully. He's a little bit taller. It's gonna be hard to see because obviously the alien is you know, coming forward a little bit. And next to the Pumpkinhead, which is the smallest of the three. Now Pumpkinhead is supposed to be very tall. Obviously in the movie it's like over 8 feet tall, and like Jake Sully is close to 10 feet. I believe he's like 9 feet tall. But as you can see right there, I mean, this is crazy big. Not sure why they made the alien so big. Again, I'm not complaining, because again, for the price, which is $300, you're getting a massive figure. And by the way, it's pretty much sold out everywhere. I know some people had their wait listed converted at Sideshow, which is pretty cool. But again, for $300, $305, sorry guys, I'm losing my voice again. But yeah, you're getting a very, very great deal, good deal, because most figures from Hot Toys, they are about, you know, $280, $300, and you're getting something small. You're getting pretty much a brand new body. Again, the base is pretty much reworked. But again, look how massive this guy is. It's such a fun, you know, aspect to see when you're doing comparisons. Again, and the Jake Sully is no slouch. I mean, this thing, you know, for such an old figure, I believe this one came in 2012. No, I mean, he still holds up. Obviously, yeah, he has visible joints and everything, but in terms of paint application and accuracy, you know, versus newer figures, again, this guy came out last year. This one came out a couple months ago, but yeah, fantastic. Again, very skinny character, as you can see, in comparisons to the other three. Obviously, Pumpkinhead is a little bit beefier. I think he has the same shoulder width as Jake Sully right there. But again, look at that. Awesome, awesome. Amazing figure right there. Again, I like how detailed his toes are, very gnarly looking. But yeah, very accurate to the movie. I know a lot of people say, oh, he looks accurate to the movie, but essentially, not a lot of people know. You know, it's very easy to say and to assume, okay, I have a Hot Toys figure, so that means it's very accurate. You know, I went ahead and looked at all the special features, behind the scenes, even some pictures on Google. You know, and I did side-by-side comparisons, you know, with the obviously screen-use suit, the actor inside, the animatronic puppet, and this thing is very close, especially the, you know, with the paint application that they used. Very similar colors to the Prime 1 Studio one, which is coming out, I guess, next year. It was delayed, but again, that thing is massive. Plus, I think also Prime 1 kind of screwed the height, because he's the same height as Big Chap. I was gonna say Big Show. Big Chap, and Big Chap is supposed to be like over 7 feet tall. Obviously, this guy, you know, standing close to the Jexul. He's close to 90 feet tall. So I think Prime 1 screwed the height department, but this guy's supposed to be well over 8 feet tall, you know, as is, which is insane. But again, seeing on how articulated he is, you can pretty much put him inside a detolf, not like this, but you know, you can pretty much crouch him down and it's gonna fit. So that's also very nice if you don't want to have a super tall figure. And here he is with our favorite guinea pig here, Michael Myers again. It's not even funny. And again, it's hard to see in the movie how tall they are, because you don't really see like a scene when he's coming up to a human and he killed them. You know, he's not as tall because he's obviously crouching down. He's pretty much hiding. It's like inside a vent, so you cannot really see in the movie how big he is. But again, next to, like, you know, Michael Myers here, which is your typical 12-inch figure, again, this guy is close to 18 inches tall. It's insane. Okay, so pretty much gonna test to see how easy it is to attach like the facehugger to like a human face. Obviously this guy has a mask, so I'm just gonna remove the head. It's gonna be a little bit easier. And again, I don't expect to be as successful with these because, like I said earlier, the older facehuggers from Hot Toys, they pretty much had like they're pretty much rubberized completely. So this guy, I'm not sure if I'm gonna succeed. Obviously getting the the tail around the neck, that's not going to be a problem, but it doesn't look as flush, you know, as I want it to be. But again, you can get the job done pretty. It's not going to be that difficult. Getting the, obviously my head is pretty loose here on Michael because I gave him a different body here, so it's not going to be the exact same thing. Again, you kind of get the idea. It's not perfect by any means. So the on-off switch is pretty much gonna be on the bottom. It's still interesting how they use this. I mean, I guess at the beginning they assumed there's gonna be batteries inside. Like I said, this was reused from the Grogu figure at the life-size scale. So just put this on. And there you go, you have some spotlights inside the base. Let me actually turn the lights off here so you can see how cool that is. An ambience here. Oh yeah, this looks very nice. Again, some people said it's not powerful enough, but honestly, it's actually pretty cool. It brings the base to life, so that's very nice. You can see that's gonna I'm gonna be able to take some very cool shots using the base. I hope that they're powerful enough so you can at least see some orange light on the figure. Have to see. But yeah, this is a very cool base. Yes, it's a reused, I know, but you know, they've given us some new elements here, like this alien goo that you can see across. It's a very nice translucent piece, so that's very nice. Again, the only thing missing would have been a chest burster and an egg, but obviously in the movie there was no eggs. It's pretty much like, I guess they used the DNA from Big Chap to kind of create the whole thing. But again, I would have been also cool to see, because I spoke about Prime 1 earlier. It would have been cool to see more elements to the base, like a back wall or something, some, you know, some hoses and you know, cables maybe. That would have been cool, just to make, you know, more variation on the base, because again, it's pretty flat. But again, I'm not gonna complain because this time around you have a flat surface, so it's very easy for the figure to stay on the base. Oh, so this is cool here. So yeah, I was pretty much right. The lights are powerful enough so you can kind of see, you know, how it shines on the figure right there, especially on the crouch area on the legs. But this is very awesome. It doesn't go up to the head. I mean, a little bit, as you can see right there. You almost have this translucency to the skin, which is kind of insane. I mean, on video it looks a little bit better. But yeah, the NECA one had some clear parts to the figure, especially like the legs and the limbs, so you can kind of see inside. But man, very awesome effect with the job. You know, usually I don't really care about light up features and, you know, gimmicks like this, but I think this time around, you know, they managed to kind of nail you know, the whole look, and this looks awesome right there. And I also prefer the look with the mouth closed. And again, I'm not a big fan of that bowel damage piece. That's quite a little bit difficult to install. You have 2 clips on the side of the head, so be very careful with those. Also, the detail here on the side of the head is spotless, immaculate. I like the purples right there, very unusual color for an alien figure. I think Kenner did some ones with like this color back in the day, but again, fantastic. Usually aliens that you usually have like brown color, grayish color. It's nice to see. You have some different tones right there, which is pretty cool. Again, you have that wire right there. You have 2 of them actually, which again was present on the big chap. And I like those teeth. Would have liked to see more chrome on the teeth. And that's something that I could add myself. And again, you have that rubbery section right there. And this pretty much, you know, it snaps into place, which is very cool as you open the mouth. But again, be very careful with those tendons, which I believe in the first movie they use actually condoms to create that, which is pretty cool. I mean, man, Giger was a nasty guy, I think. But again, such a great designer. And again, the details in the ribcage right there, you can see some wires poking. Again, very feminine design. You have wide hips, very narrow waist right there. Very cool. And obviously you have the famous tubes on the back, which they are a little bit smaller than before. And all in all, fantastic details on this guy. So final conclusions on this badass figure right here. As I said earlier, easily the best Hot Toys alien figure ever made, in my opinion, at least. We'll have to wait and see, because obviously for Alien Day a couple days ago, Hot Toys announced that they're gonna make some new Aliens figures from Aliens. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you pause that post that they've made, it actually says that they're gonna do the Alien Queen. Is that just me? I know they it says Newt, Ripley, Hicks, Bishop, I think, and another character, but also it says the Queen. So man, that's one of my biggest dreams, if Hot Toys could do like a 1/6 scale alien queen. I mean, that would be insane. But again, in the meantime, this, you know, all BS aside, this is the best alien that Hot Toys has made, in my opinion. Again, the amount of detail, the articulation, you know, this guy is massive. Again, and I had a couple aliens in the past, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. You know, I had the ones from AVP and the previous Alien Warrior. I had the Predalien back in the day, which that thing was, I would say that thing was as big as this one, which was another question of mine. Is this the biggest alien that Hot Toys gave us? I mean, kind of, but also the Predalien was about the same size, plus that one, if you're getting that one now, all of them pretty much have like loose joints. Yeah, this thing is fantastic. Again, some annoying things, obviously swapping the mouthpiece. You have that stupid clip right there. That should have been a magnet. Again, putting the dome, you know, on is very stressful. Again, you have some very small pins right there, as you can see. Those can snap. It's very thin plastic. It's cool that you have the facehugger. Again, you have a bunch of hands, which is cool. You can recreate different poses, crawling poses, you know, and such. It would have been cool to see a chest burster, and again some more addition to like the base. But again, I like on this one how it's flat, unlike my review of the Mark 6 score scale from Iron Man 2. That one, you know, the base is a letdown. But yeah, very nice. You obviously have a very big articulated tail that has no restrictions, and this is pretty much what I like about the body in general, because technically it's very accurate to how it was created, and because of that you don't really have a lot of restrictions in terms of the joints. Again, you do have some exposed joints right down the knees. You know, I've seen worse. I still prefer having joints versus like a silicone body. Plus, you know, this one looks a little bit better. Again, you can extend the joints right there. So guys, as usual, thanks for watching. Give me a comment below. Let me know what you think about this badass figure. Again, it was $300 when it was released, but now I've seen people fetching him for like, you know, asking for like $450 to $500. on Facebook, which is unfortunate, but again, for $300 you are getting a lot, which is cool. So guys, make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and as usual, see you soon for the next video. Take care guys, have a great day, bye bye.